Hope you guys had a safe trading day. Markets are going bananas lately, which is a good thing right now. All right. Dr. Arlene, that buy played out earlier for over 100 pips. I hope you got it on Nas. Came down to our 50. I took about 100 and maybe 120 pips from the trade. So really great way to be patient, right? Did you take the buy off the 50?
I took the buy. I got in too early, but
Oh, you
I'm
got
still
you got
good.
in earlier. It's too
Yeah.
early.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to see this buy too here. All right, 4 hour we could drop a little bit lower into the liquidity zone. But let's see if we get that nice bounce off the 66. But anybody else catch that buy earlier? There was two of them. There was one off the bigger zone. All right, as you guys can see my screen, and then one off the lower time frame zone. So we caught those very patient, was very patient, and now ultimately I'm looking at this one here as well, off that 50. I think that was from the weekly. Where did I get that from? Can't remember what time period I got this from, but really nice move. Caught a few times, so really liking this buy as well. Let's see if we can push up on this buy as well. All right, so
Took
let's
that one as
see.
well, Donnie.
All right, so let's see. We'll come back to this in just a moment. But Einstein's calling the buy right now as well as you guys come on in. So I like this. Let's see. I like this buy. Let's see if we can at least push back up to the 20. So really nice move. This was our trade from earlier. I left it here. Price pushed up over 100 pips, which was very good from this morning. So great job, guys, being very patient. And then on over to gold. As we can see here, gold uh took a tank. All right, but there were some really nice entries, especially if you were utilizing the 4 hour. All right. And that's gonna bring me as we use our fib. That's what I'm gonna talk about today. When it comes to one, the second part of the fib, and then two, time frames. Okay. It's one of the biggest things that we're struggling on. All right. What's the point of time frames in Forex trading? What is the point of time frames in Forex trading?
Existing entries.
Next month. Set entries, no. Close, yes. What, so give me some, so he said entries, right? So
Yeah.
he said entries. Um, Support and resistance, right? So support and resistance, okay. Confirmations, right? Different frames show different market conditions. Yes, okay. But what's the point other than that? The trend, okay. These are all good answers,
Pip
right?
count.
The trend. Go ahead, Carmen. Were you saying something?
Pip count.
Yep, for different types of traders, but I'm looking for some. What's the point of these time frames? Okay, think about it for a moment, right? What's the point of us? Because normally on stocks, what do they use? Normally in stocks, what do they use? They just use what? Most likely, probably the daily, right? Because they're looking at a day's worth of time, right? But remember, we're intraday traders, right? We make money in the financial market and we don't have to wait till the end of the day, right? We don't have to wait until we meet certain conditions. So therefore, think of time frames, okay? Think of time frames as blocks of information, blocks of information, okay? Different time frames are blocks of information that allow you, okay, to make a gain on an asset. time frames in Forex are nothing more than blocks of information that allow you to make gains on an asset, right? Such as the Forex market. Thank you, sir. And you were right about that gold trader. It did sell. I was wrong. It sold all the way down. That's me telling my 12-year-old that he was absolutely right. Gold fell out the sky and he called it. I lost that one, by the way. All right, so anytime I am wrong, I always let him know that I am wrong. And he was exactly right. And that's one of the reasons why it led me to this conversation, because we had an in-depth conversation with a 12-year-old about time frames. So now, if I'm looking at one block of information, right, and Victor or Deborah is looking at a different block of information, who's wrong and who's right? Or are we all right? Can we all be right in trading? Yes, we can all be right. Right? We can all be right. Exactly. Okay. But now let's talk about this so we understand this very well. In trading Forex, you can trade on any time frame. Okay. Time frame tell us different information. For example, if I'm trading on the weekly, each candle represents 1 week of information. Okay? So each candle is based off of a week of information. And right now, looking at the last 2 weeks, the information has been bullish, correct? Right now, the information is bearish, and we kind of knew it because we talked about that 20 moving average earlier. Okay? On the weekly. So on the weekly, it's a block of information. Now, the more information that you use, the higher time frame that you use, the bigger the error of margin, right? Or risk, should I say. Because if I'm on a higher time frame, my trade is going to be bigger or take longer to play out. Does that make sense to everybody? It's going to take longer to play out. Therefore, my stop loss and potential take profit have to match the time frame I'm on. So right now, let's just say looking at the weekly information, right? And I'm going to move all of this stuff here. Just playing the weekly information, this here hit the 50% mark of the weekly supply zone and dropped. And now we're at a buy line, right? Based off the weekly information. Does everybody see that? So now if I'm JD, I'm trading the weekly, and JD was in the sell, he was right. But Donnie, Bernard took like 5 buys and he won because he was trading different blocks of information. So right now, this was a really nice sell off the 50% mark of that supply zone to our left. And now all of a sudden, price is at a support level. Once again, everybody see that? It's a support line because that's the bottom of the supply zone. But looking at this information right now, where could the sell be heading? Give me a price point. Where could the sell be heading, or a location on my chart? Where could the sell be heading? Exactly, Jay. Man, you're gonna make some crazy money. Exactly. Sell could be heading to the 66 based off of the information from the weekly. Now, does that make sense to everybody? And I use this analogy a lot. You as a trader, and this is for everybody on here, you're a trader. Think of each time frame as a different NFL team. You are now a general manager of a new expansion team. Okay? What state doesn't have a football team? We'll say the Atlanta Hawks. All right. I just joking. I know they're horrible. All right. Don't take it, hold it against me, right? But you now have, oh, don't, Dr. Arlene, don't ever do that. That's the Washington Redskins, okay? And the Pittsburgh Steelers. I used to live there. All right. He said with Washington, D.C. Right? That's the Commanders. All right. But you are now the GM of the Hawaiian Warriors. Okay, you're the general manager of the Hawaiian Warriors. Okay. Now, what each time frame represents, the information represents the best players on that team. All right, because one of the questions was, why do we walk our charts? And a lot of you guys are not doing that. How many people right now can tell me, Donnie, I lose trades when I don't walk my charts? I lose trades when I don't use my fib on the right time frame. Okay. Got you. Right? I've been guilty of it. So you're the GM of the Hawaiian Warriors, and now you're looking at, let's say we're looking at the Miami Dolphins on the weekly, and you're gonna take the best players from this team, okay? And you get to pull them over to your team, meaning you get to come here to this information block and find the best information. Right now, we know that there is a support line sitting at 43, was that 43.30? Okay? There's a support level from the weekly at 43.30. That price just bounced off. We know that the 66 is at the bottom of the market. There is also a support level down here as well. Actually, there's actually a demand zone sitting there. Right? There's a demand zone sitting down there. Okay? So now, once we're done with the weekly, the Miami Dolphins, we can now head over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and says, you know what, I'm gonna see what good players they have. Okay, I'm gonna go over and see what good players do they have. Now I'm going to the daily, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing. Well, when I walk my chart, my time frame, now these candles represent, each candle represents a day of information, right? Then I'm gonna look at this one and I say, ooh, what player matches up with the one from the weekly? So you telling me right now, I went over to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay using this demand zone player here as well. So he bouncing back to both teams, right? And if the information matches up from one time frame to another time frame, that is a 5-star player. He should be in your fantasy football league, right? So the more time frames that have this player, the more people who've drafted this player, he's going to do really good, right? That's how fantasy football works. You want to be high in the draft so you can get the best players. So now I'm looking at the daily, and the information from the daily is now also on the daily from the weekly may also be here. Right. So now, and that's what I'm going to get at. Barbie says, my experience challenging with different time frames is that my markup does not match. Well, perfect. That's why we're doing this. So now I have my information from my weekly to my daily. And just looking at my chart right now and looking at current price, what information matches up from the weekly that it does on the daily? Just by looking at my chart right now, there's a price point. What price point matches? Take a moment. Type it in the chat once you find it. Type it in the chat once you find the price point that matches right away. Just kind of take a moment to look at my chart. There is a support line that matches up beautifully from the weekly to the daily. Does anybody see it? I even marked it in blue. 43.30. Everybody see this line right here? So look at this. This was the back wall of my weekly supply zone, excuse me. My weekly supply zone. Everybody see that? Well, at 43.30, once I went to the daily, if I look to my left on my daily, that also happens to be the front wall. Let's get rid of this weekly zone just because I'm keeping the bottom of the line. Look at this price point. Look here. Notice that price point happens to now be a demand zone on the daily. This is what I mean by strengthening the price level or price point. The more times that a price point or price level appears on a different time frame, it is a strong price level. It's what we call price action. Something is going to happen there. I'm not talking about any 50% zones right now, Dr. Lin. I'm talking about this zone right here. I'm just talking about this price level, the front wall. This was the back wall of the weekly. See it here? Right? See how it's down here right there?
I see it.
And then once I went to the daily, it also became the top wall of this demand zone. You see that?
Yep, got it.
Perfect. Okay. Now, other than you guys knowing the E3 strategy and the 50% of the demand zone, a lot of people don't know that, right? But they do know how to find strong information. So now that price level is now on 2 time frames. And when that price level shows up on 2 time frames, what can you do as a trader or as the GM?
Pay attention.
Take the trade, right? Update to the most recent, right? So now we know that this is a strong chance that this, look at this, look at the price, look at what happened. Price closed above this zone from the weekly and the daily, and that was a beautiful buy, right? Be okay being in drawdown. Remember, you guys should all have that written down. Should be on your wall. Be okay being in drawdown, right? So you entered off of 43.30, and you were in a little bit of a drawdown, and then boom, price takes off for you. Price comes back to 43.30. Information looks good. Look at that. Boom, price takes off again. Price comes down today and stops at 43.30. Boom, you're in a buy again. You're looking really good right now. You have 90, you're up 100 pips. But wait, there's more. Right? Barbie says my information doesn't match. Now, when it comes to the information, right, and the time frames, remember what I stated. Everybody should already have this down. If you leave the information from a higher time frame and you go to a lower time frame and you leave it, you must what? You must
Use it.
You
Use
must
it.
use it.
How many people are realizing that's saving you? Right? Or you're just lost in the sauce, right? So let's say right now, in Barbie's case, we see that we have the weekly demand zone right here. Look at this. Look how this zone, and I want to show you guys this. Mind you, this weekly zone came back from December. All the way back in December. Look how powerful this zone was when it came to June of this year. I'm just going to go to the daily. And we're just going to see how this zone price comes down. Beautiful, right? You entered here. Let's say you had a pending here. Really nice liquidity grab down to the moving average, right? Price pushes back up. Price exhaust over this. This wiped out a lot of traders, right? This was where they were looking to get into. The candle is even showing you that this information should have been, the market should have turned around here. Look at that. Look how Einstein even is showing you that. Well, we closed back in the zone, and look how price uses it, right? Then price closes back below the zone, and look how it's still being used. It flips. It flips. Look at that. Look at that. Now, at this point in time, again, you can choose to leave the zone. Right? If you leave it, you must use it. And look how this price, when it flips here, it's a supply zone. Look how perfectly price plays off of this weekly supply zone. Price then comes back above it and breaks back above it. So now let's say I'm Barbie. Okay. Well, I'm not as beautiful as Barbie. All right. But let's say I look like Barbie. So today I look good, right? If I choose Barbie to go with the daily information, this is not a bad information because look at this. This is where the daily's at. Let me make sure. I'm sorry, the weekly is at, right? So, Ivana, remember, what time did it break 3 times on the weekly? We talked about this. Did it break 3 times on the weekly? No. Remember, if we're leaving the zone right now, we're using it, no matter how many times it breaks. Okay? All right. If we got it from a higher time frame and it has not been broken, we're leaving it. Okay? Because it's not originally from this time frame. You're more than welcome to leave it. Right? But you're more than welcome as well to go with your newer information as well. You had newer information provided. You're more than welcome to get rid of the weekly zone and go with your newer information if you want. Now, here's my question. There's a demand zone here. There is a demand zone here. Which one would you go with? Which one do we go with?
The most
The
recent.
newest one.
The bottom one.
The newest one. The newest one. Closest to the right. The newest zone.
You go with the newest zone. Yep, you go with the newest zone. But also, what pair is this?
This is
Gold?
gold.
Yeah.
This is gold, right? Let me just show you something. On a Forex pair, this would only be about 12 to 25 pips. On gold, oops, excuse me. I just want to show you guys something. That's 400 pips. Leave them both. Leave them both. This is gold. I'm telling you guys how much of a difference gold plays. Leave them both. Leave them both. That's 400 pips, guys. And this is why I tell you guys gold is a different monster than Forex pairs. Leave them both for now. But just note that this is smaller than this one, so most likely, where's a good chance that price is going to target? The lower one. It's bigger. Why? Because everybody thinks bigger is better, right? There's a good chance. Still play this. There's a good chance price is going to target here. And look at that. Price is bouncing here as well. So now that I've taken my good players from those time periods, and now that I've gotten new information, if my new information overlaps my older information, that's a win. That's a yes. Good job. Okay? Because you know it's going to be strong information. Now I'm going to go to my 4-hour. Here's the demand zone from the 16th. And here is a demand zone from the 13th of August. Is it valid? Do they overlap? Yes. Look at the price level that overlaps on the demand zone. Does everybody see that? So we can keep the zone like I did, or we can get rid of it. It's up to you, right? You are the trader. This is your information. You are the GM of your team. You choose what you keep and what you get rid of. You can keep the older zone from the daily, right? You can decide to keep that, and then you're on the 4 hour. But if you keep it, you must what? I'm gonna drill this into your head. If you keep it, you must use it. So if I got information, Barbie, from the daily and I put it on my chart, and Barbie, if I go down to the 4 hour, I have to use it, okay? I have to respect it as a demand zone, okay? Don't just put it on your chart and not use it because it's from the daily. And that's for everybody. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
All right. So now this was a good area, okay? And I'm only gonna ask this one more time because it's a 4 hour zone. Aniko, are you in the trade? Girl, I'm gonna beat this up with you. You and me gonna fight. Are you in this trade? Just curious. Not sure if she's on right now. I know you're sitting there rolling. I am. I am. We're doing a 4 hour challenge right now. All right, so that's why I asked her earlier as well about the 4 hour. So yes, I'm in the buy right now. Short buy, right? But let's say that we decide to use the newer information. Well, you've got your most recent information that's here. And look at that. And we know for this buy to continue, price must close above our front wall here as it's struggling. Does everybody see that? So again, as you're trading, your time frame information becomes very, very important. Your newer information becomes very, very important. This is a very good buy off the 4 hour 66. And there's a good chance, just looking at this information, where is it going to go? And I even said it. Einstein called this buy again. This is a really nice buy. Could possibly head towards the 20 moving
20.
average. Yep, the 20. After this week, I really want you guys to get out of the habit of being scared to be in drawdown. I'm okay to be in drawdown 150 bucks, $300, right? I'm okay to be in profit $150, 300 bucks. You'd be okay with it too. Bigger time frames mean bigger zones. Bigger zones mean you're going to have the trade play out a little bit longer unless you are looking for that 20, 35 to 50 pip move. But I would like for you guys to start getting comfortable going from structure to structure, right? Beautiful buy. Look at this. Beautiful buy. I am in this trade. I was in it early. I took a sell. I did get beat up, I think once. Where am I at here? Let me see. And then I was down like $300, and then I was up. Yep. Okay. Good. All right. So really nice buy. That's why I'm asking, is anybody in this buy? It's a demand zone. You telling me out of the 20 something people I have on here right now, nobody else is in this buy but one person? This is a textbook play. Two confirmations. Nice, right? Now, as I go even lower on time frame, I'm going to go to another team. Now I'm going to go to the Dallas Cowboys, and they're horrible. Right? Now when I go to this Dallas Cowboys, oops, I hope I shouldn't have mentioned the Cowboys. Look at that. Even my computer froze. Second here, guys. Sorry, guys. I should not have mentioned the Cowboys. we go. There we go. Okay. Now, as I go down to the hours, I won't say the Cowboys because we all know that's why they always have an issue. I got different information, right? But let's find the overlapping information. Watch this. I got a demand zone sitting right here. Right? Price gave me a little smaller one. I'm going to stick with this bigger one. Notice how the overlapping information. Man, Donnie, you're good. All right, yeah, I know the computer froze and everything when I mentioned them. All right. Look at my overlapping information. Look at this, guys. Look at my screen. This is what gets me excited. Look at this. Notice that the back wall of my 4-hour demand zone, look at this blue line. The back wall of the 4-hour demand zone happens to be the 50% of the 1-hour demand zone. Guys, I can't make this strategy up if I wanted to on the fly. I've been doing this for years now. And look at gold fly. So when a support or resistance line shows up on multiple time frames, yep, RSI is pointing straight up on multiple time frames. What does that tell you? It is a strong price level. Now you guys understand the word price action. Now you understand the word price action. Something happened there. Some type of action is taking place there. How many people's light bulbs are going off, blinking like, oh my God, it's this simple?
Hey, Mr. Pitt, how are you, sir? Listen, I don't see that zone from the 1 hour on
Oh, let me
my.
show you.
I see a zone, but it doesn't overlap. It does not
Yep. Hold on.
overlap.
Let me show you. Let me show you. Great question. That's why we're here. So here's my 1-hour demand zone, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna mark my 1-hour demand zone. Okay? You see that?
yeah, I did too. Yeah,
Now, in the
absolutely.
demand zone, right? We
Yeah,
have
demand zone down
three.
there. Oh Lord, I gotta. Where
You
am
have
I?
a
Where
back
am I?
wall, which is a support line, right? See that back wall
Oh, you're over here. Okay, I see you now. Yes.
where price bounced off? We see that?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me get rid of Einstein here.
No. You don't
Yeah.
need Einstein. Look at my chart. Look at
No,
my.
I got it off. I turned it off so I can see better.
Okay, yep. You see
But
the
I
back
put my
wall.
hearing aids in so I can see you better.
Okay, yep.
Okay,
Let me
so
know when you got that zone as
I
well.
got that. I got that
So
one. I
now
got
that's
that.
the 4-hour zone. Go to the
Oh, you're
one
on the
hour,
4. There you go. I see the mistake. It's 4 hours. Yep. Yeah.
right?
4 different times. Yeah.
Yep. Now when I go to the 1-hour time zone, look at this. When I go over to the left, there happens to be a 1-hour
Yeah. Okay. Way over there. Yep. I see it.
demand zone.
Gotcha.
And then you see the overlapping of it. They're
Okay.
sitting right there.
Yeah. I got to turn my hearing aids up so I can see you better. Then that's okay.
Got you. So now, guys, this is very important when we come to time frame trading. So when it says, Donnie, what time frame should I be using? Because I'm getting confused because I'm going to too many time frames. Right? If you've gone to the 1 hour, and this is how it works. If you don't need anything from the daily, get rid of it. You don't need all the trash on your screen. Does that make sense? Get rid of it. Okay? If you're not using it or doing the E3 long version markup, don't leave it on your screen because you're not using it. How many people have time frames on their screen and you don't even remember what it came from and you don't even know why it's there? This buy is rocking. This is a take profit point though, guys. This is a take profit point. There is a wick there. So that is a resistance line. All right. Certainly have experienced it, right? So now you go to the 30-minute and then it looks like this. How many people found the 1 hour information, the 4 hour information, and the daily information really simple? Very, very simple. If you found this very, very simple, do you need to come down here to the 30-minute, the 15, and the 10? Do you need to come down here? No, you don't. As a new trader, I don't recommend it just yet. 90% of you guys on this call right now should not even be touching the 5-minute, the 10-minute, the 15-minute. You should not be touching it. You should not be touching it. This buy is looking nice from this morning. This was that second area we talked about. You shouldn't be touching it. If this is simple, keep it simple. I am a United States Marine. I am not that smart, okay? All right. All of our instructions are written in crayon. Okay? Just took over 100 pips. That's my girl. Celeste, you want to give him the good news you gave me today?
Yeah. So I trade on a funded account, on 5K funded account, and just using the strategy that we learned the week before last, I took a payout. I took my payout 2 days ago.
Took a payout.
So
And guys, and here's the kicker. It's a funded account that's not even supposed to be that big.
yeah, it's only a 5K funded account. And
Look at that. A payout on a 5K. That's unheard of. That is unheard of. Great job. Okay. So right now, the only reason I would come down here to gather this information is just to find out what's in my way. And we're going to get into that next time. Okay. But as of right now, you could use 3 time frames. And all you are doing is finding the information that most likely is going to land us on a different time period. It's going to follow us. It's going to go with us. So right now, let's just look above me. I didn't really look above me, but let's just say, hey, I'm going to find an exit. Right? Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm big on measuring. So I just want to see, does this qualify for a supply zone? And I don't think so. Nope, does not meet my qualifications. There is a rally-based rally here, but it's been broken. So on the daily, I don't have to worry about anything above me. I do have a baseline here and a baseline up here. And I do have to worry about the 50, right? So the only thing I'm really going to worry about is the 50% mark of the previous candle, which is there. Let me just put a dotted line there. Okay. Good take profit point, right? Here's another take profit point at the top, okay? And now I'm going to go to 4 hour. Wait, Donnie. Wait, Donnie. Your 50% mark of your previous candle matches up to a supply zone. Yo, look at that. Did y'all see how I just did that? The information is that simple, guys. So let's take in payouts. There's somebody told me the other day they just made 10 grand. My 50% mark happened to be a supply zone, and look how that supply zone played out over that daily, right? So now I know that this is a good take profit area because there's a good chance that when price hits this price point, it's going to pull back down. So now I have a target for my price level. Well, let's go to the 1 hour and see, does this information match up with anything? Man, this was a really good information. Oh, it does. And I'm going to just move it to match the 1 hour information. And it sure does. Look at that. So there's a good chance here price is going to run out of steam once we start hitting 43.70, and we definitely know that that's the 50% mark, 43.76. So when it comes to time frames are very important and they're needed to walk your chart. They are needed. You cannot trade on one time frame alone. Did I just prove that? Because information you see on one time frame, you may not see on another time frame. You're like, oh, Donnie, I'm not seeing it. Well, did you go to the 4 hour? So here's what I do. For those who are struggling, for right now, weeklies, only on Sundays or Mondays, right? You only want to use weeklies once. All right? Too much information a lot of times on the weeklies, but you just want to take a look at it. Just to take a look. Right? Good for your trend. Okay. Then we have our daily. Okay. Mark daily information. 4 hour. Okay. Find information, right? We want to find the information that overlaps the daily, if applicable. Can't believe I said that on the first try. Wow, I'm having some ice cream tonight. All right. Find information that overlaps the daily. Right? And then, okay, get rid of the daily if not needed. Get rid of it. Right? If you've got the information that's lined up with the 4 hour, get rid of the daily. All right, if not needed. Okay?
Whoa. So hold on a second, Mr. Pips. So you said get rid of the daily if it's not needed, if it don't line up with the 50.
Right. If
I mean,
you're not using
the
any of that
40.
information, if you're not using any of
Right.
the information, you get rid of it.
Because it doesn't match. It doesn't match, so we don't need it. So get rid
Exactly.
of it. Okay, there you go.
All right. Perfect. So get rid of the daily if not needed. All right. If you leave it, okay, you leave the daily, you must use it. Okay? You must use it. Right? 1 hour. before we get out of here today. 1 hour. Find the information that overlaps and provides an entry, right? A lot of times we miss trades because we can't find an entry. This is where your entry is going to come from, that 1 hour. The strongest information oops. You're not going to need the 3 hour. Um, there's Sarah, you will never need the 3 hour chart, okay? On gold. All right. My 3 hour chart is for oil and other things, but you don't really need it on that. Okay. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Principal. I will explain that. You will need it, but I'm not going to explain it right now. Just in the rule books. Okay. Sorry, Principal was letting me know I spelled that wrong. I know I did. Okay. The strongest information is going to be the information that came from the higher time frame, but can still be found all the way down to the 1 hour. Meaning, if we had a support line on the daily, and that support level was, let's just say, 43.26 on the daily. And then when we went to the 4 hour and the 43.26 showed up as a support level again, and then we go down to the 1 hour and 43.26 is on the 1 hour support level as well. What does that tell you? Hey, you pushing the damn button at 43.26. That is the strongest information that you are going to find is information that has been transferred from every time frame. Well, Donnie, all information can be. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Does that make sense to everybody? And the reason I wanted to touch base on this before I talked about my last point was when utilizing the fib, and somebody says, Donnie, my fib came from, let's say, the 4 hour. I'm just using this as an example. Same rules apply in the fib. If you draw a fib on one time frame, and then you draw a fib on another time frame, yes, this will make entries a lot better. Okay? This will also help you with those entries. Okay? But if I draw a fib on my 4 hour and then I draw it on the 1 hour, and that level also shows me the fib, Barbie, I'll reach out to you tomorrow and then we'll get on briefly, just you and I'll help you set it up, okay? No problem. I got you. That's why you're here, girl. So now my fib, this information makes it a lot easier to find and pinpoint. Just like a lot of times right now, price came back down to my 881. My 881 is one of my numbers that I love. Came down to that 881. I like my 881, especially on my dailies, my 4 hours and higher. I look for that 881 on those higher time frames because when I take a trade from an 881 spot, I'm looking for price to push all the way back to the upside. When I trade my 881, my stop loss is below 1/10. Okay. So just so you know, I like this move here on gold. All right. So that's what happens when I use it. But utilizing our fib, this just makes it a lot better. And when we can find that information that came from every time frame, and I draw my fib and I have an information on my fib there, that shows me that is a really, really good fib. Does that make sense? So like right now, if I draw a fib, what kind of fib would I be drawing? On my 4 hour, this was a buy fib, right? On my 1 hour, what kind of fib am I drawing?
Donnie, go back. How's that a buy fib if the trend is down? That should be a sell fib. Where's the buy
Because
at?
here's
Is it
my
because
look at this was my last trend. I didn't use the short
okay,
one yet. I used the bigger move.
okay. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
I fibbed the bigger move for now, just for instructional purpose, the bigger move. But on my 1 hour, which way is my fib? Be down, right?
Sell fib.
So
Sell.
Be a sell fib, right? Touched off the zero twice, pushing back up. And looking at this information, we're going to talk about overlapping fib numbers, right? When we have overlapping fib numbers, we're going to know where price most likely is headed. All right. When you have two fibs, I have a sell fib in my 1 hour. Yep. That's a sell fib on your 1 hour. And look at that. Look how my lines are kind of matching up with our fib levels. Look at that.
Donnie, can you repeat what you said about the 881?
So the 881 is my swing is a swing number. So the 881 is a swing number. I look for longs when the price comes to the 881, okay? On higher time frames. 881 is only used on higher time frames. 4 hour, daily, weekly. And when price targets that 881, I'm looking for a full swing. All right, but I'll go into those numbers on Thursday for the last part.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Any questions on time frames?
What do you mean by a swing?
I'm gonna go over that on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the different types of trades with time frames on Thursday. We're gonna talk about the swing, the continuation. Okay. Perfect. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this fib. This fib is a if you're in a sell fib right now, right? This is a really good fib. Let me get rid of this bigger fib. Right? But if you're in this fib, look at this. There's nothing wrong with this. Beautiful move to the 0. Beautiful move to the 38.2, which happens to be the back wall. Right? Look at that. Of that supply zone from the 1 hour. Look at that. This is a really nice fib. My 50% marker. Look at that. Look at my dotted lines. This is really nice. 667, 618. Beautiful. All right. So really good play. If you're in this trade right now, guys, this is a monster 4 hour move. Okay. Monster move, right? If you're in at the back wall, that's 300 pips. Any last questions on that? So now you guys see why time frames are very, very important. And on Thursday, we're going to show you that if I draw my fib, that is where you need to enter the market. If I draw my fib on my 1 hour, I'm looking for the sell. If I draw my fib on the 4 hour and I go with the bigger move, I'm looking for the buy. Your fib is your treasure map. Okay, it's your confirmation for for your entries. Okay, you have to learn the fib first before you can go into indicators. You must learn the fib. You need to know the tool. If you don't know what the legend means on the map, how are you going to know how are you going to read the map? And yes, it's called a legend. All right, the little boxes in the corner of a map is called a legend. All right, if you don't know how to use a legend, you will never know how to read a map. Okay, land nav, I was very good at. Okay, and I got better in the army. You'll never hear me say that out loud. All right, I got better in the army with land nav. All right. So, any questions on our fib? We're going to be trading this on Thursday. All right, we're actually going to be utilizing it to push the button on Thursday. Okay. And the question was, if I'm trading on a lower time frame for instructional purposes, do I draw the fib? Be very cautious drawing the fib down here. Here's what I recommend. Draw the fib on the 30-minute, find a 30-minute fib, and find your entries on the 10 and 15-minute. Okay. Utilize a 30-minute fib. Like this would have been a really nice fib. And on Thursday, I'm going to show you how to walk your fib. This was a very nice fib. And it broke down, headed all the way down. This fib was done, right? You could have even come down to the bottom and then move this even lower. As long as the fib meets the criteria for the average true range, right? This was a very good fib. Look at this. Price came, rejected off the 38.2, pushed all the way down to the 0, and we got pushed back above the 236, and now price is pushing back up. So this was a really good fib, right? Or you could have moved your fib to here. I wouldn't even played this candle just yet. All right. And look at that. All right. Fibs suck when the market is consolidating. Okay. Any last questions or any last save rounds? Look at that. Look at the dotted line we're at. Look at that. I love this. And we're at a supply zone. Okay. Use a 30-minute fib if you're trading 5-minute or 10-minute. Use your 30-minute fib. Okay. Just took TP on a live account. Great job, Marlene. Well, guys, if no other questions, that's going to do it for tonight. All right. Did that make it a lot easier about bouncing to different time frames? Again, only use those 3 time frames for now until we get a little bit more comfortable. All right.
Love it. Love it.
Beautiful. And my 4-hour traders, I'm going to be beating you guys up for those that's not in these 4-hour trades. All right. You guys know who you are. All right. You know who you are. Okay. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, guys, if no other questions, no other concerns, be very careful in this market. Again, anticipating it to shoot all the way back up. Would like to see price touch towards 57 or 73. All right, so let's see if we can get that full swing back up into the 4-hour zone. All right, guys. Guys, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys tomorrow on Coffee and Charts.
Thank you very much, Don. Have a great night, sir. Have a great night, everybody. Enjoy. Let's get pumped.
Thank you.